You are currently staring through melted sand. It was frozen in a chaotic molecular state. It looks solid. It feels solid. But it is hiding a bizarre secret. Look at the screen in front of you. Look at the windows in your room. This material is completely unnatural. It is a freak of chemistry. We call it glass. And without it, the modern world would not exist. For thousands of years, humans lived in the dark. We built thick walls of stone. We built thick walls of wood. When it was cold, we boarded up the holes. When it was hot, we opened them to the insects. Then, around 4,000 years ago, something happened. Mesopotamian traders were cooking on a sandy beach. They used blocks of natron. They used it to support their cooking pots. The fire burned incredibly hot. The natron melted into the silica sand. When the fire died, they found something impossible. Hard, translucent beads were left in the ashes. They had accidentally created the first synthetic glass, but what actually is it? If you look at metal under a microscope, you see strict order. Atoms are stacked in rigid, perfect grids. But glass is completely different. Glass is a liquid that forgot it was flowing. When you melt sand at 3,000 degrees, the atomic structure breaks down. It becomes a chaotic soup of silicon and oxygen. If you cool it slowly, the atoms arrange themselves back into neat crystals. But if you freeze it rapidly, the atoms get completely trapped. They lock into place mid-flow. Scientists call this an amorphous solid. It is a state of matter that defies basic logic. Why does this chaotic structure matter? Because that structural chaos does something magical. It allows photons of light to pass straight through. Solid matter usually stops light dead in its tracks, but glass acts like an invisible ghost. For centuries, glass was just a rare luxury. Kings drank from colored glass goblets in ancient Rome. Churches built massive stained glass windows. It was beautiful, but it was essentially just decoration. Then, in the 13th century, everything changed. Monks in Italy started losing their eyesight. Reading and copying text destroyed their vision, usually by the time they reached age 40. So they took a clear piece of glass. They ground it down to a precise curved shape. They placed it over their handwritten texts. Suddenly, the blurry letters snapped into sharp focus. They had invented reading stones. These were the first lenses in human history. Do you realize how fundamentally this altered human progress? Before the year 1280, failing eyesight meant your intellectual life was over. Scholars, craftsmen, and leaders were forced to retire in their prime. With the invention of spectacles, the intellectual lifespan of humanity doubled overnight. Minds that would have been lost to blindness kept working. But we did not stop there. In the late 13th century, Venetian glassmakers moved to the island of Murano. They learned to flatten glass perfectly. They coated the back with a thin layer of metal. They created the first clear, flat mirrors. Before this, humans only saw wavy reflections. They looked in puddles of water. They looked in polished bronze. Now, for the first time, humans could see their own faces perfectly. Psychologists believe this single invention changed our minds. It accelerated the concept of modern individualism. You cannot truly obsess over yourself until you can actually stare at yourself. What else was hiding inside this invisible rock? In the year 1609, a Dutch lensmaker put two lenses in a tube. Galileo Galilei heard about it. He pointed a similar tube at the night sky. He saw the moons of Jupiter circling the planet. He saw the jagged craters of our own moon. He proved the Earth was not the center of the universe. Glass shattered our religious cosmology. It did it in a single decade. 60 years later, a Dutch cloth merchant named Antony van Leeuwenhoek ground a tiny glass bead. He placed it over a single drop of pond water. He looked through the glass and saw alien monsters. Thousands of microscopic organisms were swimming in a single drop. Before that moment, humans believed disease was caused by bad air, or evil spirits, or divine punishment. Glass revealed the true biological enemy. Without glass lenses, we would have absolutely no germ theory, we would have no vaccines, we would have no antibiotics, we would have no modern medicine. Glass doubled our physical lifespan again. Look around your room right now. Every piece of modern technology relies on this frozen sand. Your smartphone screen is a complex sheet of aluminosilicate glass. It is infused with potassium ions. This makes it highly flexible and shatterproof. The global internet itself is entirely transmitted through glass. Millions of miles of fiber-optic cables. They wrap entirely around the dark ocean floor. They pulse with intense laser light. They carry every single email. They carry every video. They carry every financial transaction on Earth. We took the useless dirt from beneath our feet. We melted it with extreme fire, and we built an invisible nervous system for the entire planet. Are we finally reaching the limit of what this material can do? Not even close. In modern laboratories, researchers are currently creating bioactive glass. It physically bonds with human bone. It actually encourages your body to heal itself. We are building microscopic glass data drives. They can store human information for over 14 billion years. They will do this without degrading. We are constructing massive new glass mirrors in space. We use them to capture the fading light of distant, dying galaxies. We use this invisible liquid to look inward at our own DNA. We use it to look outward at the very edge of time. You are completely surrounded by melted rock. It separates you from the freezing cold. It separates you from the wind. It separates you from the vacuum of space. It connects your mind to the rest of the species. We like to think of humans as the ultimate apex predator, the true master of the biological world. But our greatest trick was not biological at all. We took the dead sand from the ground. We made it invisible. And it taught us how to see.